For page 4A, remember, grab your last page here and make sure it's open to the side. First, we're going to do some scoring, so let me lay this aside here and grab our pieces. So I have cut, we're going to be making a slider pockets, flaps, that's what I call it. Okay, so you need 2 that are 4 3/4 by 8.5. And you're going to score on your 4 3/4 side at a 1/2 inch on both of them. This is going to make the flap top and bottom. And on top of these, we're going to build a pocket that's open on one end that you can slide. So you need 2 pieces that are 2.5 by 9, and we're going to score the 2.5 inch side just on a 1/2 inch. And then turn to the 9 inch side and just score at a 1/2 inch. Same on the other piece. Turn and score at a 1/2 inch. Okay, so we have those. Then we have one piece. This will be our photo mat that slides in and out, and that is cut at 6.5 by 6.5. I'm pretty sure that will fit in there. Haven't tested it yet because I haven't made this. So let's move the scoreboard, and we'll get busy assembling this. Should be able to do it without adding pattern paper until it's put onto the page, I believe. So let me move this out of the way. And let's grab our flaps first. So just fold, score line, and burnish. And we'll build the pocket up on it first before we attach to the page, I think. Would be easier. So we have those 2. Now this, we're going to miter the corner here, just the one corner. You don't have the second score line over here. You just have it on this one side. And one is going to go at the top, and one's going to flip. One's going to go at the top, one's going to go at the bottom like this. So this one fold the 9 inch back, so it's on the top like this, and then you have this little 1/2 inch on the side like that. Okay, let's go ahead and burnish those really well. This one you fold so that the long score line goes under on the bottom, and this one goes on the right. So they're exactly the same. It's just that this is on the top side, and they're open on both ends. Where, wait a minute, let me think. They're open on both ends, but we got to slide on this page on the front side. So flip it. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. You should have the fold of the long side at the top, and the fold of the short side on the left, the fold of the long side on the bottom, and the fold on the short side on the right. Glad I got that. So let's grab this one here, and we're going to glue this right to the top of the flap. So glue on your 1/2 inch pieces and the 1/2 inch attachment hinges. That's what I like to call them if I think of that. They're hinges that we attach something to the page. So we're going to attach this one to the top where the flap is, where the fold is of the attachment at the top of the flap. So just burnish that here on the sides and across the top. So this is going to leave this kind of open right here. Okay. And then we take the other one, we turn the flap so that the hinge is down at the bottom, and we're going to attach this to the bottom of it. Line it up. The fold of the short end goes to the left, and this one goes along, the long one goes along the bottom where the hinge is of the flap. And burnish. And try to line them up correctly, better than I'm doing. There. I'm really burnishing it and getting that glue out. Okay. Right. So we have that. So let's grab our page. Remember, we've got to have it opening on the side. We want this top one where it's open to the right here on this little slider. We're going to line this up right there. And I didn't get that one quite lined up right, but I think it'll be okay. Maybe I will lift up a little bit and see if I can re-glue that where it belongs. So I'm going to have to move this too. Maybe not. We'll see. Okay. So we pulled that up a little bit. See if I can put glue on it and reposition it some. Just a tiny bit got off. And I don't like that. So try to get them on even if you can. Oops. Glue on my hand here. Pull it up just a tiny bit. I didn't want to take the whole thing off, so I don't know if that helped any or not. Maybe just a little bit, so I'm going to burnish it down again. Okay, so again, grab your page, make sure it's open to the left, and we're going to put glue along this hinge here, this attachment hinge on the back of this flap. Okay, got the opening here on the left, so line this up along the top edge. Make sure they're lined up. This is so that your opening is here on the right. And this one will flip up. Once we get it glued correctly. Burnish underneath. Press out all that excess glue. Okay, so it has a flap like that. Now this one goes over here. Make sure the fold is down here so that it opens over here to the side, to the right side. So glue on the 1/2 inch. Line the fold up to the bottom fold of this page. And they should pretty much meet right in the middle. Now we may have to just slice a little bit off if it overlaps any. I don't want it overlapping. But let's get this on first and take a look at it. Put this back. Okay, it meets pretty good. I think it's going to be okay. If you feel like it's not, then just slice a tiny bit off on your trimmer. But I think that's going to be okay like that. So this is going to slide in like this. And you could make that bigger if you wanted to. I did mine 6.5 by 6.5. And I think it will work out just fine. And then after we get that like that, what I want to do is right here at the very top where that 1/2 inch edge is, the hinge, just bring it down, about 3/4 of an inch. We're going to seal that top corner edge of that pocket, not the flap. Make sure the flap is still loose. So I just closed up the very top corner of this pocket here. And I'm going to do the same down here over the hinge of just the pocket, line of glue and about 1/4 inch beyond. Burnish that down because I want this to be like a pocket, because I want to put tags and things in. So this will slide in now, right like that. Now all we have to do is add pattern paper. That's what it looks like to everything. Get that in. It's possible this could be bigger. I may change. Well, no, not once I sealed it. That still works. Yeah, that works. Okay. Okay, I'm going to slide this off, and then we'll add pattern paper, so I'll figure all that out, and we'll be right back with all that on there. I've cut the pattern paper and mats for this page 4A, so I'm going to go over it with you. So for the front of the pockets, I use that blue, what did I say it was? Commodore blue. I had scraps of it to use. So this is cut for the flaps at 8 1/4. There's 2 of those by 1 3/4. So I glued that on. Then from the 12 by 12 cut aparts, I cut out this border strip of the chocolate frogs. I had 2 sheets because I had been working initially with 2 collections. So of course these are 8 1/4 by the height of the border, which is 1 inch. So I glued that on. So I really like that. Now I'm going to take these tags out that I made, and I'll go over them a little bit. I did change my mat to a 7 by 7. So cut another piece of cardstock, 7 by 7. It works better. I used an 8 by 8 sheet of the chocolate frogs and cut those out to 6 3/4 by 6 3/4. I did round the corners with this corner rounder right here. Leave the back black for photos if you want. So there's that mat. I did go ahead and finish the other mat also, and I have it inside here. Now this is probably easier to pattern before gluing those top little, tacking down those corners, but I just lifted it a little bit and got it in. So these are from a 12 by 12, and it is 8 1/4, and I cut mine at 3 1/2. So 2 at 8 1/4 by 3 1/2 to just slip it up underneath there and glue that on the front flaps. And then when this opens up, I use the rest of it and then a scrap from another sheet to cut these. And I didn't leave as big a border because I wanted this back piece covered up more. So these are cut at 8 3/8 by 4 1/4. So these are the maps of the Hogwarts maps. This is that 6 by 6 one that I had to 6 1/2 by 6 1/2. And then I used a 12 by 12 of this stripe and cut it at, fit in that 8 1/2 section. Cut it at 8 5/8 by 8 5/8. And I wanted it completely solid to cover up the edges of the attachment hinges. So this goes in here, and you can put other photo mats or whatever in there. Fold this up, slide the bigger mat here to hold all that down. And then I cut, this one is from a scrap. You can use whatever sizes you want, 3 1/2 by 6. So that made my pattern paper 3 3/8 by 5 7/8. I'm just going to tuck that in. These are just 2 blue scraps. They were the same size. They're 3 1/4 by 4. I'll just tuck those in like that. So I'm going to add more mats and things. So that is page 4A. I love how that turned out. It looks really cute with the chocolate frogs. So it goes really well with the opposite page like that. Okay, so now we're ready for our last page, and then I will have to decide what I want to do for my inside covers. For page 4B, we're going to make a gatefold double pop-up page. Okay, so you need 2 pieces for your gatefold that are 4 3/4 by 8 1/2. But on the 4 3/4 side, after you cut it, just trim off 1/32 of a strip. It's just so tiny. I've already trimmed mine. I just put it back in my trimmer and just barely trim the edge off. It's just a sliver. This is to keep it from being too close in the middle. Okay, these 4 3/4 by 8 1/2 that we trimmed down just slightly, put it back in, put the 4 3/4 side. You can see it's a little shorter there. Score it at a 1/2 inch on each one. And that's going to make our gate fold. And I'm just going to double check that. I'm going to go ahead and fold these. Then grab my page. The base page here. Where did I put that? There it is. Okay. So one on the left and one on the right. Yeah, that works fine. It just gives you a tiniest little bit of space in between them. Okay, so that's what we want. You just trim a tiny bit off. Then we want 2 that are 6 1/4 by 4 1/4. These are going to be our double pop-up mats, but we're going to build a flip up on them. So we want 2 that are 6 1/4 by 4 3/4, and we're going to score the 4 3/4 side at a 1/2 inch. Whoops. Make sure your score line's straight. And these are going to, when you fold them up, are going to glue to the top of each one of these like that. So that gives us more places for photos. So I'm going to go ahead and fold this and burnish really good. There's that piece. There's that one. I'm going to put these together. So you take a smaller one, which is your 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, and you glue this one with the flap on, just like that. So take my glue, put it on the back side on that 1/2 inch attachment hinge, line them up. Burnish that down. And open it up and burnish inside. Okay, the other one. Glue on your 1/2 inch attachment hinge. Line it up. Okay, we got that. So these we burnish really well. These are our gatefold flaps. Grab the page. Remember, we have to make sure we're not doing anything upside down. So we have the page like this. We turn it over, and we're going to put a hinged flap here on the right and then one on the left. So glue on your 1/2 inch attachment hinge on the back. Line that up to the far right side of the page, top and bottom, and on the side here. Glue. Let's see, open it up, clean up the glue. Okay, so there is that one. This one goes on the left like this. Okay, line that up. Up a little bit right there. So I'm re-recording this because I planned this size wrong. So I want to show you this correct size instead of what I originally had in my video. And you're going to see another section where the measurements are wrong for these 4 pieces. So ignore those. We're going with this. It will be correct in the cutting list. And then you're going to cut 4 that are 7.5 by 2. I changed the width and the length on this. So this is what we're going to do. First, though, you're going to glue 2 of these together. We only need 2 finished elements for our pop-up, but I wanted it thicker. So if you have a 110-pound cardstock, you could use that instead of the regular Artisan, but I'm just going to glue these together and then really score them well after they've dried to create the piece that I need. So if you have the heavier cardstock, then use that. If you're using the Artisan, then cut 4 and glue 2 together. So we got those. Now we're going to score that. So let me move these pieces out of the way. Grab the scoreboard. And I'm going to use the heavier metal scoring tool. So put your 7.5 in at the top. And we're going to score at 1, 2, get that one off, 2, and 6.5. So that's 1 inch there on that end. Got that one off too. Take it like this and just flip it over and score again on the other side. 1, 2, 6.5. Boy, I am just terrible scoring with this. Okay, then fold that. You're going to see that by doing it on both sides, it does make that thicker piece fold over. So do this one the same way. 1 inch, 2, 6.5. Whoops. 1 inch, 2, 6.5. Flip it completely over so you still have your marks over here. 1, 2, and the 6.5. Not going in there right. Goodness. Okay. All right, then we're going to open it back up. I'm going to line this up on my grid, so I can mark this side here. I'm going to skip over from the score line and put a pencil mark 1 inch from that single score line. This is going to just be a pencil mark. Okay, same with the other one. The one that just has the one score line, line it up so that you measure it with your ruler, skip over 1 inch, and mark. All right, so we have that. Okay, so when you're folding and burnishing these score lines, make sure that you do not fold that pencil line, okay? So I'm just folding and burnishing. This is going to go on the right. This one I'm going to flip and put it on the left. So burnishing it this way. And don't burnish that 1/2 inch. So we've got it like that. Okay, so let's grab our book. And if you want to use temporary to get everything in place, you can do that. So I think I'll lay these two out. One goes atop, one goes on the bottom. Okay. Make sure they're going to fit. Okay, so they're going to be just a little bit tight. They're going to need to be trimmed just a little bit on the ends that's open, not the fold. So I'm just going to barely trim any off. Very tiny amount on both of these so that they'll fit in just a little bit better without rubbing against each other. I'm going to clean that one up with my scissor. Okay, so it's just a tiny little bit all the way through. Make sure you're cutting on the open end, not your fold. Okay, so that should work better. We're going to have one on this side and one over here. Okay, so that does give us a little more room there. Okay, so that means I'm going to do this one first. This is going to line up here. I want this piece attached right there. And I need to put my pencil mark on this side where I can see it. Right there. Okay. That's where I'm going to be gluing this piece. Like that. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put glue on just this section here between the pencil and the next fold. I was going to do this with temporary, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and go for it. Oh, you know what? No. We've got to put, I think it's time to quit for the day. We've got to put our pattern paper down under here first and here, on both, through the whole thing. So hold off on this. We're not ready yet. We got to put the pattern paper on before we glue our pop-up down. Forgot all about that. So I'm going to turn this off and then we'll be back to do that. And then we'll do our pop-up elements. Glad I caught that. Sorry about that. I've added the pattern paper to the inside of page 4B. And I got to make sure I'm not doing it upside down. Okay. Everything's right. Okay, here we go. I matted with the gray cardstock, and I used, this is my colors in charcoal. So I put cardstock here, my colors here on the inside flaps, and then I matted it here on the back, and then I added the pattern paper. So these on the Gatefold are cut at 4 1/8 by 8 3/8, and then this mat down here is 8 3/8 by 8 3/8, and then this was an 8 by 8 pattern from the collection on that. So now we're ready to put the mechanisms in. I can't even think today. Okay, so we have our 2 flip up mats here. So we're going to put one on the right and one on the left. Okay, and for this one on the right, you want to turn it so that, looking at it, let's grab this one here. You've got a pencil mark here, not a fold line, but a pencil mark. You've got one fold line here, the other 2 on the left like this. This is what's going to glue here for now, and then our piece is going to attach here. So I'm going to bring this down. I'm going to make sure we have room here. So all the way down. So I'm just getting my position here for this piece here, kind of centered. Okay. So I'm going to put glue on the 1-inch section here, fold it under. That's going to attach to this flap here. And again, I'm going to position this. This is going to lay up to the pencil line, centered. And I'm placing it here. This line here needs to go along that score line. So I'm just going to press this down and burnish that. And I hope I'm doing it right. I'm going to get it on there straight. Clean up any excess glue here. Open it up and burnish. Okay. Now then, double check this line up here. I need this drop down a little more. Okay, that's about centered. Okay, now with this flattened down, glue is going to go on this section, this biggest section here. Don't go over the pencil line, and don't go over the score line. Here on the left, pencil line on the right. Make sure your flap opens to the top. I'm going to line this up along the pencil line and along the bottom of my page. Okay, I'm going to burnish that. Open that up, get it burnished. Make sure it stays lined up. Open it up. Now then, just studying it real quick. Okay, so let me play with it a little bit to make sure I'm gluing the remaining piece in the right. Okay, so I used my temporary glue to make sure I was doing this correct. Okay, so now flatten this down, and glue is going to go on just the very last 1-inch section, okay, like this. This is going to be free and standing. Flatten it down. Let's bring this over completely. Bring up this flap. Line up your piece here like this. Go ahead and close everything up. Line up your, down here at the bottom. The flap's got to be flattened. This has got to be flattened and burnished, and let that dry. Because when it comes up, it's going to stand up like that, and then you'll be able to do that. It's just a pop-up mechanism there in the middle. And I'm just going to reach in there with my bone folder and burnish it really good. So that's what it looks like that way. Open it up. Okay, so now we're ready to do the other side. Let's turn it around. That would probably make it easier. Just have to remember that the flap, the fold's got to go towards you when it's upside down like this. So making sure we've got clearance here, or I'll need to trim this down some more. Okay, I'm going to trim off a little bit from this one. I probably should have trimmed some off the other one too. But I'm going to just take off about 1/16 of an inch. It's better to have one a little smaller than them not working at all. So let's see here. Oops, that didn't take it off. Let me grab my scissors. It cut the one layer, but not the other. Gave me a mark though, so I can cut that. There we go. So let's see. This one, because it's not where it belongs. You know why I didn't get this one down far enough. I'm going to reach in there and loosen it up. You can't see where I've moved the tape, I mean the glue. I'm just going to re-glue it. Flatten it down. Make sure this comes down where it belongs. Didn't have it down far enough. Try that again. Okay. Now let's see how the other one fits. Okay, so that works much better. Kind of have a little bit of gap there. So let's turn this one around. The tag fell out of the other side. This fold's got to go towards the top. So this piece here, again, the one with the pencil mark, it's got to go to this side, and these got to go down like this. So fold it so that it looks like this. Remember, this is going to go here. So I've got this laying where I want it. I'm going to put glue on just the 1 inch between the end and the fold of my 1 inch, and I have a pencil line here. So I've lined up my flap thing, my mat, and I'm going to center this between it, about right there. I'm going to open this up, keep that straight, and burnish that in there. Okay, now then this one is going to glue right onto that. So again, glue just in the widest section. Nothing beyond the pencil mark. Nothing beyond the fold right there. So we're going to make sure this fold is here. I'm going to line this up, get it as close to the top as I can without going beyond the page. Nice and straight. Right there on that pencil line. Okay, so remember, we're going to bring this backwards, fold this one over. The glue is going to go on this very last one. Flatten it down. Bring up the flap and everything. Press it down. Make sure it's lined up. Bring it up carefully. It should be standing up. And reach in there with your bone folder where that attaches down and burnish. Okay, so now when they're open, or when you close them, they're going to do that. Just like that. All my tags are falling out. Let me take them out of my pocket. There you go. There's your gatefold, and there's your photo pop-ups with the little flip-ups. Now then, I think I'm going to put, can't decide if I want magnets on there. Probably so. I don't think I have any more small ones, though. So, you know what? I think I'm just going to leave them like that because you can see that they pop up and you can look at the pictures like that. Now, if you wanted to put a magnet in there, then you would have to mat everything. I'm going to decide on how I want to mat everything up and decide on my closure piece here for this flap and get the matting on that. I've added my patterned paper to page 4B on the outside of my gatefold flaps. I did the gray cardstock and I cut two that are 4 inches by 8 3/8, and then I cut two of the patterned paper out of 12 by 12 that are 3 3/4 by 8 1/8, sorry. And then on the inside here, these I had already given you, these were matted just in the gray. And then for this, I cut two of the pattern papers. Measure yours to make sure, because if you trim these to fit, one may be a little shorter than the other. But anyway, I cut mine at 6 and looks like just under 6 1/4 to make it fit by 3 7/8. So that's the two patterns. These little pieces are 7/8 wide by 1 7/8 tall. Then I open it up and I matted with the yellow cardstock that I had left. I matted this to 5 7/8 wide by 3 3/3 tall. So that's done in there, just like that. So now we're going to do a closure, and what I'm going to do is what I've named, just for my own way of knowing what I'm thinking about, what I'm calling it, a winged closure. And I was inspired by Michelle Allen of Country Craft Creations design team. She just did a video tutorial with her photo play Coco Paradise album where she did this type of closure. I can't remember what she called it, but anyway, I think I have seen this before. I'm not positive, but anyway, I loved the closure, and I thought, well, I'm going to incorporate that into mine because I have this gatefold. It's a great closure. I'm going to show you how to do it. Mine's a different size than hers, but I think once you do one with these gatefold flaps, you're going to love it. No magnets were killed in this project. So I want mine to be out of this cut apart, which is a 4 by 6 from the 12 by 12 collection. And then you're going to need two pieces, and they just happen to be two different colors because that's the scraps I had. But this is going to be the outer, and this is going to be the wings. So you need 4 pieces that are 4 by 6. And we need to score the ones that are going to go in the center. On the 4-inch side, score these at 2 inches. 2 inches, just like that. Okay? And then you're going to fold them in half and burnish. And these will make the wings for your closure piece. It's really simple, quick, and easy, and I loved it in Michelle's album, and so I decided to do it in this one. Okay, so you're going to take one solid piece of your cardstock that you want for the outer back, and you're going to take one of your wing sets, and on the back side, so that the fold will be facing to the inside, put your glue. I'm going to turn this a little bit. I'm going to line this up right here along the edges, top and bottom, right in here, and burnish. No glue on this one. Yeah, that's right. Had to think a minute. Then this one's going to butt up to it. So the glue on this back side with the fold to my right. And then place this one down, butt it up against it, keep it within that solid piece there. So now there's the wings, the winged closure. Push this down. You're going to glue this on top. Let me see if it's the right, and it doesn't sandwich up quite right, but that's okay. I'm going to trim this off a little bit. It's a little bit too long. I don't know why, but that's okay. I'm going to trim off a little bit. This goes right here. It's better. So all of this, the glue on this. Line it up, flatten those wings down, and just line it up. Okay, and then you're going to glue your cut apart down on top of that. So once your cut apart is glued down on the front, you've just got these wings open in the center, and then it's solid on the back here where you could put other, another photo. You could use that as a photo mat. Let me clean up a little glue on there. Anyway, grab your page, and what you do is you lift up one side and put the wings, put the flap into the wings, and then open these wings up, and this one goes in, and it lays down, and it keeps it closed. Isn't that awesome? Thanks, Michelle, for showing that on your tutorial video. It works great with this Harry Potter, and then you can slide it, you know, up and down some if you want to. You can even slide it off to open it, but I love how it looks. So let me put all these back in my pocket where they belong, and those are our pages that we're ready to put into the book, and then after that we will do our inside covers for our Magic Adventures and Magic book album. Magic album, yes. So we'll get ready to put our pages in.